Hi everyone, it's Janice Golding again, and this is my blog, A Life Beneath. As you can see here, the title reads, Everyone Has a Story, What's Yours? Um, Again, my profile opening page doesn't change under the surface, basically talking about how people don't engage with our neighbors, and so the purpose of the blog being to get people to share their stories. And start off with this photo of a tire shop that's also a beauty salon that I took when I was on a story one day. My About page, it talks about how I've been a journalist and I've interviewed thousands of people, and yet I don't get to tell most of those stories. I only get to tell the stories of influencers, politicians, etc. So the purpose of this blog is so that people can see our shared humanity, to tell the stories that aren't necessarily newsworthy but still have value. As you can see on the side here, I've got an archive section by month. And then I wrote a series of profiles. I wrote 8 profiles. I try to have catchy headlines like this one, Single by Choice. I used a quote, Men that chased me, I should just run, run around like the devil and not stop. Anne was quite quirky. And she talked about her life and how marriage was not a great thing for her, and how her first tyrant husband was a tyrant. Her second husband was a drunk. Anyway, so I interviewed a whole number of people. This is Bob out of the spotlight. I'm just another face in the crowd. That's all. I categorized everything and tagged them. So I interviewed a whole variety of people from across the city and from different walks of life. I continue to produce videos for each one of these posts, interesting unknown facts. Anne talks about the fact that she went back to school to get her high school diploma when she was 21 years old. She'd been married, but she only had a grade 9 education. So she said she went back to school and got her diploma at 25. And she said she was the first one in her town to do that at her age, but then other people who were married followed suit. And she said this enabled her to leave her first husband. She had an interesting story about how he was so abusive he actually took a shotgun to her because she didn't go to a dance with him, for example. So anyway, her story was fascinating. But I have a whole series of other people. Bob talks about how he built his house from scratch, the ground up. And then we continued with the life tips hacks. I try to make quirky stories. I interviewed people and picked stuff I thought was unusual, and talked about how what makes life worth living is having a beer a day. Bob talked about truth and why truth is so important. Then my contact page remained the same. Again, people could reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram or via email. And I also have a pretty fulsome disclaimer page here. And that's it. So you can see my archives. You can see the stories as they were published at that point by month. And yeah, so that was my blog. I enjoyed doing this, and I enjoyed getting to know all of you. And I enjoyed this experience. And that's it for me. And goodbye, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed the course as much as I did. Bye.